Who is your favorite villain from a video game and why?
Oh,
This is a great question.
that's a tough one.
Tough one, there's been so many.
I would say Bowser, because he's a great dad, he's just chilling. He also did kidnap Princess Peach, it was a little controversial. So I'm gonna say maybe like the ghosts from Pac-Man. He's just coming, stealing all the dots. They're just trying to protect their home, they used to live there.
Immediately, I'm not overthinking it, Vas. Far Cry 3 always comes to my mind as a great villain. I think I'm just gonna go with my gut and say Vas. That was like the first really good motion capture. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Another villain that sticks out is probably Liquid Snake. But Liquid Snake lives in a different genre of villain.
Carl Heisenberg. The concept of being able to manipulate metal, not to mention his attitude just fit the character, chef's kiss.
It would have to be Handsome Jack. And why do I like Handsome Jack? It's Handsome Jack.
Technically an anti-hero, Virgil from the Devil May Cry series. He's just a total badass, he's super fast, he feels like a teleporting samurai ninja guy and such an edgelord. I love to see it.
Villain is probably too harsh of a word. More antagonist is probably Abby from The Last of Us 2. To put you, the gamer, in the shoes of what was seen to be the villain to you in the game and walk a mile in their shoes, it allowed us, the gamers, to see the empathetic side of Abby's story, and it made you realize that Ellie and Abby aren't too different when you think about it.
M. Bison, this sort of over-the-top ham appeal to it that I love. He's so happy to be a bad guy. I think it's cool to have a villain with a deeper storyline to them, but there's something to be said to like a really fun, simple bad guy.
Vas from Far Cry 3. Easily one of the best villains of all time in video games. And that epic monologue that he gave, where you finally look up to him at one point in the game and he just goes,
"Did I ever tell you what the definition of insanity is?"
I think that point, Vas became so synonymous with Far Cry players, and a bunch of gamers basically experienced Vas Montenegro.
Well, I'm actually going to make two claims here. Tom Nook is both the greatest villain, and he's also my favorite villain. Depending on which game you play, you just got off the train, you just got off the bus, and all you got is the money in your back pocket. And this guy comes up and immediately tries to sell you a home.
My favorite villain from a video game, it's also my favorite comic villain, is the Joker, the Arkham series. The reason why is because I think he portrays the comic book Joker very well, and the bond between him and Batman is portrayed incredibly well on how Batman in the Arkham games is incredibly stern, by the books, won't kill. Very traditional Batman, and Joker is an absolute psychopath, and he wants to destroy everything, cause chaos and everything, and he never ends up killing Batman because all of his fun would be over.
Albert Wesker. He is top tier, pure badass. The leather Matrix outfit and the sunglasses, the way he fights, all fast and matrixy. Absolutely loved him.
Would have to say Zinyak from Saints Row 4. He's just cool.
The Handsome Jack from Borderlands 2.
Ooh, my favorite villain. I think it has to be Voss from Far Cry 3. I feel like that's a lot of people's favorite villain in video games because he is just so well executed. The only bad part was he wasn't the main villain in the game, which is really sad considering he's on the cover.
Freaking Voss, one of the best villains. I gotta say, my favorite villain of all time in video games.
That's going to be tied between Handsome Jack from Borderlands 2 and Andrew Ryan from Bioshock 1. I prefer Andrew Ryan solely because he is a venture capitalist, and just his philosophy of just anyone can become great, you just gotta work for it and you gotta strive for it. That I can really get behind. Handsome Jack is really cool because he's just a completely smarmy dude. He's in your ear in the entire game and like you love to hate him. But if I had to really pick one, I would probably pick Andrew Ryan just because there was so much philosophy in Bioshock that really stuck with me to this day.
I'm thinking Sauron from Middle-earth: Shadow of War. Not just the character Sauron, but the way he's displayed in the game is great. The way that they actually display his backstory, I find very appealing.
Handsome Jack. He's just really menacing.
Dutch from RDR1. His monologues and speeches were just always fun to listen to, and he was such a fun character to kind of get into the think about and look at.
My favorite video game villain should be Lady Dimitrescu. Because she's amazing. Handsome Jack, easy, because he's also probably the funniest.
General Shepard, he's a pretty good villain. He's a pretty good character. The person that voiced him did a good job.
Is either Vas from Far Cry 3 or the Elusive Man from the Mass Effect series. I gravitate towards the Elusive Man. He has such a presence around him.
Prince Thrakath from Wing Commander 3 is my favorite villain of all time. Before I played Wing Commander 3, I didn't know that games could have a movie-style feel that focuses on the villain's point of view. And throughout Wing Commander 3, we see Prince Thrakath working behind the scenes to undermine the war effort that you are putting in. So while you're making gains, you see Prince Thrakath plotting to undo those gains.
Albert Wesker is probably my favorite villain of all time when it comes to gaming. I still remember, watching my father play Code Veronica X because I was too scared to do it, not even knowing who Wesker was. But at the same time, the first game that I completed on my own in that series was the Resident Evil 1 remake. I got to kind of see Wesker evolve from Traitor's Captain to complete global saturation.
I just played a game called Elden Ring. One boss that I really enjoyed the backstory and the fight is General Radahn. The backstory, it was so heartwarming and wholesome. The thing about he learned magic just to keep riding his horse that he'd been having since his childhood.
I would say the whole Metal Gear saga has great villains, but one specific villain I haven't played The Last of Us 2 yet. I know. Joel at the end of the game is one of my favorite villains. It's the most human villain I've seen in games, and also one of the most realistic, because as much as we want to be chivalresque, it's tough for us to make the right decisions.
My favourite villain would have to be the chairman from Yakuza 0, Mr. Dojima himself. He is one of the most amazing villains ever. He's a crafty person. He's got this entire gang under him, this entire criminal organisation. He was just one of the amazing villains ever, having these three people trying to fight over this plot of land to get this lieutenant position. The way he executed it, you feel these bonds with the characters. He's such an amazing antagonist that I just love him so much.
That's definitely Heisenberg from Resident Evil Village. I just love him.
It would probably be Whitley from Portal 2. His charisma, cool accent, his writing makes him one of the three of my most favorite villains from video games. The other two would be Handsome Jack from Borderlands 2 and Virgil from Devil May Cry series.
Atlas from Bioshock comes to mind first. Bioshock was truly an innovation and masterpiece in gaming. I think the way they told story and how they, twist your expectations using linear storytelling to really twist a whole narrative on your head, and then seeing like you were following directions when you were really being brainwashed. I thought that was great, and I think he's my favorite villain.
Makarov from Call of Duty Black Ops 2.
Hojo from Final Fantasy. He was a creep, especially in the remake there. He was responsible for everything that happened in the game there. Everyone simps for Sephiroth. Oh, we all love Sephiroth. I love Sephiroth's leather pants. Sephiroth is so cool. Sephiroth was a mad dog.
Zeus from God of War. Because he is very afraid of fate, even though he's just a hunch.
The guy from Far Cry 5 is overrated. All he does is monologue and say nothing.
This is the world we built for our children?